The year was 1910. Cornell University's first Dean of Agriculture, Liberty Hyde Bailey Jr., was taking a holiday in Kingston, Jamaica, with his family. One day, Bailey's wife, Annette, asked the expert botanist to identify the palms growing by their veranda. To her surprise and his frustration, Bailey was unable to provide an adequate answer. He knew they were palms, of course, but what genus, what species, how many palms were there anyway? Eager to fill this crucial gap in his botanical knowledge, Bailey consulted the literature, only to discover that palms were woefully understudied. Even the herbarium collections lacked basic diagnostic parts. No wonder, wrote Bailey, that the bases of palm taxonomy are so frequently inadequate in every way to the understanding of the plant, of which there are only small, fragmentary pieces. Unable to rest knowing that such a culturally and economically important group of plants was being neglected, Bailey pledged to track down as many species as possible, to make thorough collections of them and set their taxonomy straight. After retiring from the university in 1913, Bailey spent the better part of 3 decades doing just that. Determined to start with wild palms, Bailey soon figured out why previous collections had been so inadequate. Palms are huge. Many are tall trees of over 100 feet, with clusters of flowers and fruit that may require several people just to pick them up and carry them. Bailey once wrote that procuring material of the great palms was like setting forth to collect a windmill, and likened the trees to the big game of the plant world. Most standard herbarium collections consist of an entire plant or representative branch on a sheet of paper about the size of a folded newspaper. Such papers are a mere fraction of the size of many palm leaves. Clearly, Bailey needed to take a different approach. He soon established a thorough protocol for collecting palm specimens. This included photographing the tree in its entirety and developing the film in situ, preserving flowers and fruits in alcohol, pressing flower clusters, and carefully folding sections of the leaves to fit herbarium sheets. On a good day, Bailey and assistants could complete the collection and documentation of a single palm. Inclement weather, inaccessibility, illness, and local politics might prolong the process considerably. Undeterred, Bailey wrote that there are 2 elements in the collecting of palms. 1. Find your palm. 2. Stay until you get it. The latter half of Bailey's life seems to be one continuous voyage. He journeyed to the volcanic islands of the Caribbean, to the jungles of Panama and South America, to the hinterlands of Mexico, and to the less traveled parts of the southern United States. Each trip was an adventure in every sense of the word. In the 1920s, Bailey was often accompanied by his daughter, Ethel. She was a valuable collaborator, editor, and assistant who pressed specimens, prepared parcels of plants for shipment home, and worked alongside her father to break the massive plants into manageable portions. Together, L.H. and E.Z. Bailey endured landslides, tropical storms, food poisoning, and less than ideal accommodations to find and acquire precious palm specimens. Bailey continued to collect into his 90s. He was frequently abroad on his birthday, March 15th. Thus, he could recall spending his 79th in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, his 82nd in Oaxaca, Mexico, his 88th in Trinidad, his 90th in Grenada, and his 91st at sea on a small sailboat between St. Eustatius and St. Kitts. Friends and colleagues at Cornell hoped to hold a 90th birthday celebration for Bailey. And they did, but only after their guest of honor returned to Ithaca in May, 2 months after his actual birthday. Ill health finally forced Liberty Hyde Bailey to discontinue collecting abroad in 1949, at the age of 91. He continued to study, compare, and write about his palm specimens. His ultimate goal was to produce an authoritative guide to all palms, titled Genera Palmarum. When he died in 1954, at age 96, he left behind a manuscript of the first page for the introduction. After Bailey's death, the mantle was picked up by hortorium researcher Harold E. Moore, also an avid fieldworker and dedicated palm taxonomist. Moore, too, wished to publish Genera Palmarum, but he died unexpectedly in 1980, leaving the work unfinished. The task moved to Drs. Natalie Uhl and John Dransfield, who, in 1987, expanded on Moore's work and published a 610-page first edition. This edition, colloquially called GP1, jump-started a massive amount of additional research on palms and gained nearly 800 citations in Google Scholar. In 2008, Uhl, Dransfield, and 4 other collaborators released a second edition, GP2, that incorporates information obtained from DNA-based studies of palm evolution. New palm species are still being discovered and described with the aid of specimens collected by Bailey, Moore, Uhl, Dransfield, and others. In 2008, an entirely new genus was discovered on the island of Madagascar. It contains a single species, Tahina spectabilis, a specimen of which is housed in the herbarium here at Cornell. Today, the 30,000 specimen palm collection at Cornell's L.H. Bailey Hortorium is lauded as the largest in North America and the second largest in the world. It continues to serve as a priceless resource for scientists across the globe.